The ECFR held this year's annual council meeting at the Palais in Brussels. Over 150 council members, EU politicians, academics and media professionals came together to analyse the current crisis of the European order and to look at the future of the EU and its role in the world. Many believe that the first step to resolution must be a stronger union.
We have an order that has been established. We have agreement, we have principles, we have signed documents, but that has been challenged primarily, of course, by what Russia has been doing. So now it's a question of sort of restoring that particular, or restoring respect for that particular order. The first step, of course, is to support the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine. That has been sort of violated, the Crimea and Donbass, and of course Russia is not going to give up its possessions easily or within a short period of time. That would be an illusion. But at the same time, it's very important that we stand by the principles, because if those principles are eroded there, they can be eroded elsewhere. Balkans is an obvious place where we've confronted exactly the same issues before. So it's quite stand by principle.
Well, I think that the really most important step would be the change of the treaty and finally decide what kind of beast we want to be. Do we want to be a political union and so move forward and putting in common some basic elements and being some relevant budget and etc., and not only the economic, the monetary union, but also the economic one and foreign policy, etc. Now, it seems to me that there is very little appetite for the moment for this move, but if we remain in the middle of the river, I think that we will jump and bump from one crisis to another without the proper instruments just to answer and to be up to the crisis.
The whole of Europe, not just Germany, has to get involved and to do two things. To make sure we hold the Minsk II ceasefire line in eastern Ukraine, that it actually becomes peace, even if it's a frozen conflict. And secondly, to make the rest of Ukraine a functioning state, which means supporting the reforms, supporting the independence of the country, but that also means supporting it financially. And if we're ready to do those two things, then Ukraine can survive. If we're not, then Vladimir Putin will get what he wants, which is a dysfunctional state.
EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Federica Mogherini, joined the conference for dinner and gave, in an off-the-record speech, insight into the current EU challenges, a sneak preview of issues she'll raise at the next Council meeting. On the second day of the conference, the next possible steps were discussed.
I think the step number 2 is to sort of devise a strategy, speaking about, for example, North Africa, or more broadly the Arab region, to have a joint discussion with the Gulf states on this entire region of banging it down. Don't make it your own battleground, but let it be our stable partnership jointly. And I think others is, for example, on right now there's a tendency to just go back to the old policy of just have a stable states, even if they're dictators, and don't worry about human rights. And I think that is, for example, a wrong discussion. We need to find a good middle ground where you still insist on, human rights in the transition. Maybe do it more smartly than in the last few months, but and with more credibility. But this is a debate. We need to have a strategy about how do we go about it. And once we've decided we wanted to address the questions.
We need to stabilize internally, so rebalance the European construction, and probably with two-speed Europe, more integration in the Eurozone, and more ability to deal with the integration circle of European Union. And stabilizing internally, you can really deal with the unstable neighborhood in the Middle East, in the Mediterranean, in the eastern front of Ukraine. But it will be very difficult for the European Union to be a pole of stability if really you don't have your own internal stability. So my priority would be look to to the problems you have inside and control your problems in the neighborhood and try to do your best.
Preserving our values is the most important thing. Then, of course, helping those countries who want to make the choice to share our values and also be part of our community as European Union or transatlantic community, even if you will.
All council members agree that the EU must change its current course, as otherwise the Union could turn into a failed project.